Hello, this is I Do Damage, and welcome back to the channel. In this Torchlight Frontiers video, I'm going to break down the stream that happened on December 20th for Torchlight Frontiers with their special guest himself. Max Schaefer was on there. And guys, wow. There was some big news towards the end of it. And that's the reason the biggest news will be towards the end of this video. But wow, there's a lot of stuff in between that you need to know about with Torchlight Frontiers and what's happening. Some of the stuff is confirmed for Update 10, and some of it will be happening later. As we get closer and we get more official news on Update 10, I'll do patch breakdowns and talk more about the future and my thoughts on the game and where they're going with it. But for now, wow. Before I start, just a quick reminder, I'm a Green Man Gaming official ambassador, as well as a Humble Bundle partner. If you use my affiliate link down below when you go to buy a game from one of these stores, it will help support the channel. Also, I do stream on Twitch every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday. Hopefully I'll have the honor of catching you there sometime. So, wow, December 20th stream. Oh my gosh, they told us some crazy news. Let's just go ahead and start. First of all, they asked Max Schaefer himself what his #1 favorite feature in Torchlight Frontiers is. And his response was the new change in the pacing, order of dungeons, the order of the story progression, and how leveling feels so much better. Instead of just being fields of monsters, you're bouncing around, you're fighting different mob types, you're doing different dungeon types, you're doing all this different stuff to make it feel more fun instead of just grinding through millions of goblins or whatever. Also, they mentioned the bosses are going to be seeing an increase in difficulty, and one of them was so overtuned that they had to go back and actually nerf it. They want these bosses to be the true test of progression. They want you to make sure that you're actually geared up and you're ready to take down that bad guy. We're going to be seeing, I'm pretty sure this will be in Update 10, 3 new class skills again. We're going to see Shadow Step for the Dusk Mage, Furnace Blast for the Forged, Electrified Rounds for the Railmaster. I'm hoping maybe with the Railmaster's electric rounds, maybe that will synergize up with the new Relic Electrode that we'll talk about here in a little bit. We're going to also see a brand new legendary overhaul. Legendary changes are coming, and I've been waiting for this. This is huge. They hired Michael Mayhem. He's worked on other games in the genre. He has made some handcrafted legendary powers that are just, they look insane. If you've been following the channel, I've been posting and talking about them. One of them is you can throw multiple sticks of the dynamite. Another one is usually it's a melee attack, but now it shoots out into a shockwave, and so you can actually get some ranged on this, what would normally be a melee attack. So we're going to be getting proper legendary powers. I can't wait for that. As it is right now, they're just stat sticks, which is still overpowered, but full legendary powers, I mean, that's game changer. They're also going to be adding new weapon types, which we already know about, pistols, rifles, and another type that they haven't said yet or showed off, and I'm speculating it's either going to be wands or staves, because they were talking about projectiles or multiple projectiles. So I'm thinking like wands would be really cool. But let's be honest. Update 9 happened a few months ago, and it's been a while since we've heard anything or known anything, and it all makes sense why. There's so many changes happening. Another big change, the last update introduced Fame Quests, right? Another big change is Fame Quests are going away. They're going to rework them. They do not like how they work right now, and I'm glad, because it was starting to feel almost like a job in a way. That it's okay, I log on, I'll do all these exact same Fame Quests every week, and it was getting really tedious, which it's going the MMO route, which is fine, but I'm glad they're taking it back to the drawing board. What they're wanting to do with these Fame Quests is make them tied to Mapworks, which is huge. That's essentially, as it is right now, is your end game placeholder. That's not how the end game is going to be, but I do think it'll be a part of the end game. So as it is right now, you beat the story, you can buy these maps that they scale forever with your level, all the way up to level 50 per frontier. And you just go in there and I always just bum rush for the boss and the boss chest to try to get a pet cage. But these Fame Quests are going to be handcrafted quests to the specific map that you're in. I don't know if they're going to be procedural or if they'll be randomized or if it's going to be each map has this exact quest every time. I do hope they're random, but we'll have to see. Anyway, this will bring a lot more life to the map works and it give a lot more of a purpose, as well as rewarding you with that fame. They're probably still going to have a weekly cap on how much fame you can actually acquire. I think it'll just be better to be doing relevant content while earning the end game currency, right? My favorite part of Torchlight Frontiers is how they're taking an MMO approach on the game. And one of the biggest features that really makes it feel alive, in my opinion, is the luck tree. And the luck tree is a monument type item. Pay attention to that word monument. It's going to be important in what I'm about to talk about. So the luck tree as it is right now, I can feed items to it and plus it up to level 5. Level 5 is the max, and that gives me an account-wide buff of 5% item luck, hence why I'm feeding it items. But someone else can come to my tree, click on it, donate an item, and they get a bigger luck buff for a few minutes that's for their character. And I can do that to other people's trees. So I can have the account-wide buff as well as a buff from another player's tree. But anyway, the reason I'm talking about this is because they're going to add 3 new monument types, and I'm pretty sure these are confirmed for update 10. The first one is a gold drop, gold find tree. I'm going to assume you sacrifice gold to get it up to the maximum level. Hopefully there's more levels than just 5. And then they're going to add a monument per frontier. They're going to have a goblin monument and a Hyvid monument, where you sacrifice specific items that you find in each frontier and sacrifice them to the monuments to plus them up. And this is going to be huge because I'll get a little bit more into it later when I drop the hammer on you guys as to some of these huge changes. Because there's something I really do want to talk about at the end about all this. And there's going to be a 4th monument that is for sure not coming in Update 10, but will be coming later, and probably is my number 1 most anticipated monument. It's for hardcore. So if you're playing a hardcore character, I don't know if it's like achievement based or what, but you're rewarded for playing hardcore, and it sounds like you're going to get some sort of buffs from doing so. So I'm excited for that, to have an incentive to go try hardcore. So as I said, there's tons of new changes. There's a few more I want to talk about, and then I'll get to that big bang announcement just for you. They're going to be adding 2 new relics, which we know about. If you've checked out their Trello board, I'll have it linked down below, but you can see the electrode item. It's this shock item, obviously, and it has a dwarven face on it, which hints at the new frontier. They also have the cold heart. This thing sounds really cool. This is a cold-based relic that summons walls of ice that push back enemies. And if you kill frozen enemies, it will then summon ice golems. So this could cater more to those pet builds that I know everyone's excited about. It just sounds really cool. I can't wait to get my hands on that. They're going to be adding gambling, which we just got in Last Epoch, which is a really nice feature. I can't wait to see it in Torchlight Frontier and just gamble away all my money trying to get my hands on some of those new legendaries. Oh, and of course, the electrode I mentioned has the dwarven face that hints at the new frontier, which is confirmed to be a dwarven-esque type of frontier. Pretty big news, but we all knew that there was more frontiers coming, so there you go, there's that. But this is what I want to tell you about, and this is what you guys need to know about. There's so many fundamental changes with frontiers, characters, progression, skills, leveling up, the story, fame, everything. There's so many changes. So with this in mind, at the end of the stream, before they logged off for the holidays, they wanted to drop down some big news, and they did in a big way. If you haven't seen the VOD of their announcement, go to like the last 10 minutes and just watch these announcements. It's just crazy how they dropped it on us, guys. The first one from Jordan, the new community manager, was that gear, items, and stats are no longer frontier specific. That is huge because that was a big thing for this game, was that each frontier you had separate progression, and I guess they didn't like that. So I'm curious to kind of hear the philosophy behind that, but I think it's a good thing. I think it's a good thing so you can have one character instead of having a goblin character and a Hyvid character. You can have one character and just progress all the way through. Maybe it even implies that during the story you'll be bouncing between frontiers. And maybe that's what Max was talking about, where instead of just fighting goblins the whole time, maybe now we're going to bounce over to the Hybrid frontier after a little bit of the story and bounce back and forth and break it up a little bit. That would be cool. The next one is a little bit more minor. This comes from Lady Gadfly. The new class she kind of teased at, she said it is very sharp. So in my mind, that means maybe a assassin type, it's sharp, maybe some stabby stabs, I don't know. Just speculating. Originally, I had thought a ranged character with the new ranged weapons coming in, like a ranger type, and maybe that would tie into the assassin as well. Maybe it's a hybrid class. I don't know. I'm curious what you guys think about what the new class could possibly be. And the biggest news of all, this one, oh man, some people I think are going to be a little upset. They had promised that the alpha would be no wipes. There will be a wipe. 100% going to be a wipe. The new update comes in the end of January is my guess, and expect a wipe. If you just got a key recently, I wouldn't go ham. Definitely check it out and have fun, but the minute you stop having fun, man, just log off. All your progress is going to be wiped. This came from Max Schaefer's mouth. They said it in a joking manner. However, I don't think it's a joke. I think it's 100% real. So I want you guys to know that, and make sure everyone else that's playing Torchlight Frontiers knows that there is indeed going to be a wipe. So now that you know all the changes and everything that's coming, I want to share my final thoughts on all of it. First of all, I would typically be upset about a wipe. However, in Torchlight Frontiers, I have, over the course of streaming and making videos, I've learned to pace myself on games. And if I'm not having fun playing a game and it feels like a chore, I just don't play it. Otherwise, I get burnt out on the game, and the thought of even touching the game makes me sick. This happened with Pagan Online, and oh man, I was so upset with myself that I forced myself to play it to the point that I hated it. And we all learn, right? And I learned from that. I learned and took that knowledge into Torchlight Frontiers, that when I was not having fun with the game, I just logged off. And that's why I hadn't done Fame Quests for the past week, because I just didn't want to. It just wasn't fun for me to play. And I haven't touched it. But I'm happy to say all the time that I have spent in Torchlight Frontiers, whether it be on stream, off stream, just playing and chilling, I've enjoyed every minute of it. I love the game. I think it's really fun, and I've had a blast. Even making the builds is fun. However, I just didn't overdo it, so I'm not burnt out on the game, and I don't mind that there's a wipe. In fact, I think the wipe's great. I know that there's going to be some argument about, well, it's a little bit late, isn't it, for these big changes to happen? I don't think so. It's still an alpha, and they need to really iron out and decide what do they want this game to be. They need to really have an identity for this game. And it felt a little awkward in its current state. I think that this overhaul of Frontiers being one progression instead of separate progressions, the fact that they're making leveling up in the story feel more smooth and more interesting, and those bosses are getting an increase, new legendaries, all these features that are coming is just great. I think it's needed for the game to become better. They have a lot of competition coming up in these next few years, and you know what games I'm talking about. And if they want to compete, they need to get their nose on the grinding stone, pay attention to what they're doing, be receptive, and make the best ARPG possible that I think it can be. If they truly stick to their MMO roots and try to make it more of an MMO based instead of just a hub based MMO, what I mean by that is seeing players and grouping up with players out in the open world. If they focus on that element and buff up those world bosses and make it a true MMO as well as an ARPG, they're going to have a real gem, and I think they'll be able to contend with the other big titans of the genre. With that in mind, that's my honest opinion, and that's how I truly feel about the game. I'm curious what everyone else thinks. If you haven't yet, please check out our Discord. We have a nice growing community there. We're pushing 100 members, and let's have a conversation. I know there's some real ARPG nerds out there that have a thought and have a say in this. So I'm curious to talk to you and to meet you guys. You all are awesome. I hope you enjoyed this video as much as I did. As always, Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.
It's meant to be, 'cause I feel like letting go. Get it for some energy.